Hey, good morning. I'd like to read today from my very first novel, which I put out in September of 2020. I first started writing it in April of 2020, and it's called The Fiction of Forgiveness. I put a subtitle on it as, well, it actually comes out two different ways. One edition says a neo-Jungian anthology, and then another edition says, you can't just say you're sorry. A bit about the cover. There's a picture of James Dean on the cover of the book. In fact, let me get a copy of it. There it is. And if you're at all an aficionado of James Dean, you'll know that this is from the series, the Torn Sweater series he did. And why did I elect to use this as the cover? For one thing, let me tell you, I paid the family of James Dean for use of his likeness on this particular book. I'm not sure it was the best investment in the world, but I did it. And this is kind of the quintessential Dean look. And I felt that there was something I was trying to express in this first work about the fiction of forgiveness, the fiction of forgiveness. And that phrase had actually come up in some journaling that I had done once. And it's something about, apologizing all the time for one thing and another, and then seeing it happen over and over again. I mean brutal stuff. I just mean, just kind of this endless cycle of apologies. And I, this is neither here nor there, but I even remember reading something about Donald Trump and his training as a political animal by Roy Cohn, saying never admit you're wrong, never say you're sorry for anything. And I don't know, for some people it seems to work really well, but in the normal course of events, we have to apologize all the time. And I think it starts to ring a bit false. So, The Fiction of Forgiveness. I'm going to read a bit from it. A neo-Jungian anthology, because, see if I can encapsulate this in a couple of sentences. Jung was a psychologist who, in his dream analyses, he believed that in a dream that I might have or you might have, that every character in the dream is an expression of you, the dreamer. That every character, every situation, everything, animate, inanimate, you name it, is a representation of a different aspect of the dreamer. So it's not about me dreaming about all this stuff, but rather it's about me dreaming about different aspects of myself. And ultimately, I felt that this kind of writing that I was undertaking, I wanted it I wanted it to be more about the reader, or certainly as much about the reader than about the writer. And I guess, what does that mean? Well, it wasn't going to be a story. It wasn't going to be a story that I was telling. Though there'd be little stories in there, but really something a bit broader. So let me read a little bit of it and see if we can get at it a bit. I'm reading on a screen in front of me. Copyright 2020. Oh. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. And that's by Carl Jung. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Yeah. Introduction. Force someone to say they're sorry, but be prepared to be expectorated upon in the face. How much longer must one be forced down the path of apologizing for things one did or didn't do? It's got to be some outcropping of the Bible, some residue of the Ten Commandments, sorrow for grievances, contrition. Well, if it made life better in some way, maybe I'd concede that it has a place in a healthy life, but it doesn't work. And it's a practice which starts very early in life. You've been there. You're a child in the sandbox with your little friend for no apparent reason. One of you grabs a handful of sand and throws it in the other's face. There was, however, a witness, a parent. Resolution of conflicts is of the highest importance to anyone who seeks to have a fluid and successful set of interpersonal relationships. Back to the sandbox. The adult says, "Now, Tyler, that's not a very nice thing to do to your little friend Scotty. Please tell him you're sorry." And so begins the fiction of forgiveness, an automatic ritual of declaring forced or otherwise inauthentic sorrow over something done or not done by one to another. I'm not going to read the whole introduction, but to the last chapter, let's see what they have to say. I haven't prepared. Certain chapters of this book are devoted to candid, impassioned, and direct communications to participants in conflict. There is power and magic in such undelivered letters to people I need to speak with and what I would say to them. I have filled countless notebooks with such imagined verbalizations to those who may have perpetrated upon me, others, or themselves. And that's a throwback to a program I did many years ago called the EST training. And these notebooks, we used to keep these notebooks in this particular course. And part of the notebook would be communications, people I need to speak with and what I would say to them. I mean, it's this endless, are an endless repository of undelivered communications, good and bad, positive and negative. And I think that undelivered communications could be either very positive, like in loving someone, or it could be something, like I hate you. It could be I love you. It could be I hate you, and everything in between. But anyway, let's move on. I'll read a little bit of the book. And by the way, I've got a cold. I'm sick, but I wanted to do this. And the weather outside is frightful. And if I knew the words of the song, I'd launch into it right now. But the weather outside is frightful. Very cold outside. Okay, so let's see. Where are we here? Rolling around to the. I think I got lost here. Oh, great. Yeah, yeah. There we go. I'm gonna stop here. I'll resume. Anais Nin. I'm gonna read this. We see things not as they are, but as we are. Anais Nin. We see things not as they are, but as we are. Once again, it's all about the reader. Chapter 1. Transformation, not entertainment. You came for a story? I love a good story, and I know you do too. I love a well conceived story, especially in movies. These stories entertain me. I used to like a good rom com, and I know I'll watch another, but I really shouldn't watch too many because I know they're not really good for me. Still, I know I'll get out the Kirkland 2 minute 10-second popcorn and hunker down for a sappy story, get all weepy at the good parts when somebody is redeemed or when true love happens or some cute boy and girl kiss for the first or last time. That's how far gone I am. Besides, if you haven't noticed, we are at a crossroads in the history of civilization. Either we take the occasion of the virus, by the way, step outside. I wrote this during the beginning of the virus. A very good friend of mine, Stuart Cohen, died in April of 2020. So this was a very real thing happening at that particular time. But let me resume and complete this paragraph. Besides, if you haven't noticed, we are at a crossroads in the history of civilization. Either we take the occasion of the virus as a means to massive personal and societal transformation, or we resign ourselves to sticking our heads further and further into the sand by means of the ample diversions that we have made to allow ourselves to check out when it is most decidedly time to check in. And last thing I'm going to say on this particular tape, there's this phenomenon happening not only in this country but around the world. These 30-something young people who have put off their lives until, the age of 39, in some cases 42, 43. They put everything off, deciding on a career, deciding on a partner, having a child, going to graduate school, and they're doing everything in their 30s. It's causing tremendous stress to these people. And I think it's and look, I can't. I'm not standing in judgment of the 30 somethings because I had my own version of this. I put off a great number of things in terms of decisions about what I wanted to do with my life, having children, raising a family, settling down. I mean, really, uh, not that I didn't try, but that's just not the way it played out. But let's just say that there is a lot of checking out happening and a lot of loss of focus and a loss of communication that are overtaking the young. And all I'm trying to say is that they need to start checking in. I'm gonna pause here and we'll start another one. Thank you so much. I'm waking up. That's good.